Hey, what's going on with it, bros, women, bronies, and pegasisters? This is the one, the only Nintendo Freak 2011, aka Criticism Guide 2009. So, hopefully you read the title up above and below. And, yeah, without further ado, real quick before I do get this started, this is going to be another really badass Miyazaki film. It's funny, I just finished doing a Blu-ray review thing for, Princess Mononoke, one of his older, Miyazaki films. And, yeah, I'll put the little link down below so you guys can read all this right here, The Wind Rises. Brand new Miyazaki film. I'm not sure it's supposed to be this past July when it came out in Japan or next year. Hopefully it ends up like Secret of Arrietty and that other one. I think it was called Pongo or something like that. But yeah, definitely check that out if you haven't already. So without further ado, let's get this shit started. In a good way, of course. So yeah, The Wind Rises. Basically, it's based in a I think it's World War I and World War II wars. Just like in real life with Nazi Germany and all that shit. The only difference is this has to do with Japan. Back in the 1920s, of course, this is way before I was alive. My grandparents were probably like babies back then or whatever. Or they probably weren't even born yet until like 4 or 5 years later. I don't know. But yeah, basically, it's basically all centered around 1920s Great Depression of Japan, which I had no idea about. And yeah, basically, other than that, what happens is it's in the Great War of the Kento Depression or something like that. And I know it's from the Pokemon thing, Johto and Keno and all that, but this is a little bit different because it's based on a real place. So yeah, besides that, it's about this boy. He really wants to have his dreams realized. He pretends that he tries to fly off the roof because he wants to be an airplane or whatever like that. And he ends up being an engineer architect afterwards. And he ends up getting in contact with this Italian dude. I'm not sure if that's him, Capriani. He ends up being like, they both have their dreams realized. Pretty badass, if I do say so myself. Sorry, I just got a text real quick. Okay, so yeah, other than that, basically what happens after that, I was just reading the text, sorry about that interruption. Yeah, besides all that, he wants to get his dream realized from Capriani. He's from Italy, so he wants this Italian style like airplanes in Japan, so he wants to make a truce with them. So he ends up going to this engineering place for a couple of years or whatever, and then he ends up being some executive engineer for the Navy. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Besides all that, what makes it even crazier is that he ends up falling in love later on with this girl named Namekeo. That's the one you just saw right there, Namekeo. But besides all that, I'm sorry about that. I'm just texting real quick. Yeah, what makes this beautifully well detailed is the graphics, obviously, and everything else along with it. It is a little sad, a little touching for Japanese people at that time. With World War II, some of them, they felt discriminated when Miyazaki made this film, but I think he made a really balls to the wall, badass decision with this. But unfortunately, the bad news is he's going to be retiring. He's going to end up being retiring later on after he ends up finishing out this movie, and he ends up getting a release and all that. He made a couple public statements saying, oh, he feels proud that the Japanese people made the 01 thing or whatever. They could be proud of those airplanes. And then after that, what happens is that after he falls in love with that chick or whatever, they end up getting married in their little engineering company or whatever. He ends up failing in the military for some reason, so he goes back. That's why he marries that girl Namekeo. But unfortunately, he's seen her coughing blood up there, so she ends up getting some tuberculosis disease, and she can't really handle it no more. Which is sad because she ends up having her sister or whatever saying it's an irreversible cure and there's nothing they can do about it, which is pretty heartbreaking. Sucks. I think you see Miyazaki's old school style. I'm gonna miss that a lot because not a lot of people can do that type of anime like they did in the mid-late 80s and the 90s, maybe even early 2000s. After that, it started becoming way more mainstream around the 90s. And afterwards, I could go on and on about this shit, seriously. He ends up showing us earthquakes and everything all over the place, and there's these submarines and all these warships all over the place. It's funny because I'm not going to really get into it. If you want to check that out, my Criticism Guide channel about alternative media with the war in Syria and shit, you can go over there, check that out, because I really don't do alternative media stuff here anymore. But besides all that, what made it even more interesting, there was a burst of wind at the end of at the end of the movie. That's what they said, because I was reading on Wikipedia the article and everything. It was indicating that his wife Namekeo, she ends up dying from the tuberculosis once for all, which is pretty fucking sad. And then after that, he says he ends up having a dream that his dreams finally get realized with the WW1 airplane that he ended up designing and having interior designs for it, and had all these dreams and visions with Capriani. And after that, his dreams do come true. The thing he had to sacrifice was his wife ended up dying from the tuberculosis. And yeah, there's a lot of poverty, depression, and all that. It's pretty fucking sad, you know. But at the same time, you know, it's a reminder of Japan. You know, they went through a lot since then, you know. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for now. So hopefully you like this little review. I know it wasn't that much, but I'll read you that little statement real quick on Wikipedia when he's talking about that. If I can find it. Oh, he made that other movie, Ponyo. That's what it was. It wasn't Pongo. My bad. Okay. Let's see what it said. There it is. Miyazaki himself added to the controversy that publishing an article. He criticized Japan's conservative party groups like the Constitution, whatever, which irritated nationalities. Leftists weren't happy about the warplane design, which was the film's protagonist. Some questions with Miyazaki, who would make a film about a man who built killing machines, and others pointing out as some of the laborers who built the planes were Korean and Chinese people who were forced into labor. The film had also received criticism in the South Korean public. And this is what Miyazaki said. He had very complex feelings about the war being regarded to the zero. He said it represented one of the few things we Japanese people could be proud of, that were truly formidable presence, and so we were the pilots, so were the brave pilots who did that, who flew them. Yeah, I'll leave the whole article right here so you could see it down in the link below, so hopefully you check that out and don't pass it up. That's all the cast, production, and all that. So yeah, that's all I had to say for now. So like I always say, peace out, bros, women, bronies, and pegasisters. I will see you when I see you. You guys have a good day, have a good night, wherever you're at around the world. Don't drink and smoke weed at the same time, and don't do anything reckless, alright? See you in the next one. Peace out, be easy, talk to you soon, lates, and take care everyone. Goodbye, and I'm out. Talk to you next time.